In 2007, my husband Nick found out that he had gotten a job with Conagra Foods and that we were going to be moving to Omaha. We were familiar with Omaha, but not really with the surrounding areas of Omaha because we hadn't grown up here. So it was going to be important that when looking for a home, we would find the perfect place for our growing family. Well, we found our home, and we have been here for the last 11 years building memories. We have made improvements over the years. We've built fences, decks, finished our basement, and that's what's kept us here. But this spring, we decided our next challenge was to upgrade our flooring. Of course, when you decide just to do one project, it usually turns into 4, and I have many ideas, and most of the ideas stem from my obsession with Pinterest. I have extensive Pinterest boards devoted to anything that you would want to do in your home, and most of the time, we choose to make such improvements on our own. At this point, you could call my husband and I functional DIYers. We do the research, we watch the tutorials, we know the true feeling of sweat equity, but I'm convinced that after watching a 5-hour marathon of Fixer Upper, that if Chip and Joanna can transform an old barn into a 4-bedroom masterpiece, so can Nick and I. One of the most difficult decisions is making the right choice on what the best color and material of the flooring will be. However, I am glad that we do not have a cast member from Trading Spaces choosing it for us. We could end up with artificial grass or maybe even a sand floor. There are so many choices when it comes to flooring. There's vinyl, laminate, tile, and carpet, and in really any color you can imagine. But after 4 kids and 3 dogs, it was probably best to go with flooring that can handle the constant traffic. We chose luxury vinyl plank. I would suggest once you've picked out your choice of flooring that you shop around to get the best price. Professionals will have this job done quickly, but it might cost you double to triple of the cost of the flooring. By completing the project like this on your own, it's going to take time and hard work, but it will save you a pretty penny. When we start projects, I am thankful for all of those times my husband didn't listen to my eye roll when he said he needed another tool. Because in all honesty, I'm glad we have them. This part of the project I liken unto Tim the Tool Man, and my husband is Al, and I'm really glad he can show me how to use all those tools. The right tools make a job like this much easier. We had decided to also update our baseboards. Some helpful tools that we used to replace our baseboards were a measuring tape to measure the walls, a miter saw to cut proper angles, and a brad nailer to nail the new molding into the wall. Some additional tools that will help get the job done are a flooring installation kit. This will help tighten the tongue and groove of the floorboards. A mallet to tap the laminate floorboards together and make them tight. Triangles to get the proper angle when cutting. A razor to cut the laminate floor. And pliers to help support the breaks of the cuts in the board. Before we started this process, we painted walls, molding, doors, and doorways so that when we tear up the carpet, we will be ready to install the molding. After the molding is installed, we will then prepare the floor by sweeping and vacuuming to be sure it's ready to lay the floor. This step is important so that you don't have any staples or debris making this surface uneven. This next step of tearing up the carpet is a little bit scary. Nick and I are both aware that if we rip up this carpet, we're committed to finishing this project. But maybe one more trip to Home Depot to get supplies, and Josh Temple from House Crashers will find us, follow us home, and knock out this project for us. Tearing up carpet is rather simple. I would suggest cutting small rows to make it easier to roll up and remove from your workspace. It is also helpful to have a small crowbar that assists in prying up stubborn staples. I would also say that removing any carpet tack strips would be important because they will no longer be needed if you are laying laminate flooring. After all the carpet staples and strips are removed, the floor will need to be vacuumed and swept. We learned several things in this next part of the process. First, the baseboards need to be installed before attempting laying the floor. Otherwise, it will lead to a lot of frustration because the floorboards shift. We also learned that not every corner in our home is square, or it is someone else's version of square. Getting the boards to fit together is really important. Each board has a tongue and a groove that allows the boards to fit together. We thought this was just going to fit together, and the tutorials made it look really easy. But what we realized is that you have to help the board pieces together by tapping them with the mallet at a slight angle. We chose to lay our flooring in a stretcher bond pattern. That means that the end of each board is lined up with the center of the boards that are directly above or below. We chose this pattern because of the ease of laying it and how it looks with the wood grain pattern on the planks. Cutting the boards is pretty simple. It requires a razor blade and maybe a triangle. You only cut pieces that you need to fit. This mostly is on the ends of your row. First, measure the length. Second, find a flat surface and score the board with a razor blade. And third, break the board on your scored line. When the board started coming together to create a floor, we were excited because all of our time, frustrations, and hard work were paying off. Our next steps will be finishing up the molding with corner round and gluing the threshold pieces in the doorways and stairwells to get a more professional look. Nick and I are not going to start wearing plaid shirts, renovating old homes, and claiming that we are the next Bob Vila. But we are excited that we have affordably completed another household project on our own and pleased with the final product. Every home improvement project that we have completed is memorable because Nick and I have worked side by side to get the job done. In words of Nate Berkus, your home should tell a story of who you are and be a collection of what you love.